I'm Alli. I came out after 20 years of marriage and I have 3 kids.
I'm Melisa and I have 2 kids and I came out at 37 after an 11-year marriage.
This podcast is about coming out later and the struggles and victories that come with it.
When coming out feels like the end of the world, but it's really just the beginning.
This is the Lesbian Chronicles.
Welcome to the Lesbian Chronicles. You pointed at me.
I know. I pointed at you, but you do the thing you do, which is the long pause. I've got this friend. This friend and I have this like whole thing where there was this guy that we both knew, and we would constantly be in conversations with him, and he does the long pause. And it's literally like neither one of us ever know when it's appropriate to jump in. So we're like looking at each other like, is someone going to do it? And that's what you just did to me. The long
I know.
pause.
And I that's a habit from being in news and audio and editing and all that stuff.
You're supposed to wait.
So, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's
Whoops.
very good. Very good. I like how you did it. But yes, welcome to the Lesbian Chronicles. Here we are again.
I guess this is the first time we've actually really sat down to talk since I saw you a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Or we had the big Pride weekend, Porch Fest.
I know, for like a social event. You know what? You're one of my like dearest friends, and what's crazy and what occurred to me at Porch Fest is we socialize as much as I socialize with anyone, but we don't hang out that often.
Yeah. We usually just catch up with the podcast.
Yeah.
That's that, like occasional dinner here and there.
Like, yeah, people think we're like hanging out all the time. We really aren't because of life and where we live. And so it was really fun to like be hanging with you guys.
But even there, it was like bonkers.
It was bonkers.
Like,
how many
there
people
were so many people.
There had to be almost 200 people there.
I don't know. And I felt, and like you were the one hosting it. And I felt like I got there and I knew like 15 people.
Yeah.
And it was just like one after another where I was like saying hi to all these people that I haven't seen in like so long.
Well, that's you anywhere.
It is me.
Yeah, it is.
But it was good to be like out and about, and Pride was amazing.
Were you surprised at the cross section of people at my house?
Yes and no. I mean, I've been to like the wine stroll thing in Oakhurst before. So I've seen like kind of the makeup of the people that live in that area.
Right.
But it is like kind of a broad spectrum. And my best friend Tamara and her husband came.
Yeah,
like
I liked
straight
meeting
couple.
them. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know, I think it was a good mix of both.
Do you know that wine festival is next weekend?
It is?
Yeah, I kind of want to go. Like, it's such a fun day. Do you have your kids?
Know what? I think I do have my kids.
If somehow you can get away, we would definitely go with y'all.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun last year. They had big wheel races.
Really? I don't remember that. Where did I not go? I know I feel like I went,
might be thinking of the
I
Kirkwood
didn't.
one, though.
You're thinking of the Kirkwood wine store.
Or the Kirkwood.
Yeah, this is the Decatur one.
Well, even so, any place that has big wheel races is right in my book.
I know.
So.
Did you have a big wheel when you were little?
I did.
I did
spent
too.
Days of my life on that thing.
Same. Mine was the Incredible Hulk one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can't. Mine was. Mine didn't have like a specific character on it, but there was one at my grandmother's house that was a Smurfs one.
Oh, sweet.
And like it was like the one toy at my grandmother's house, like the sole toy. And so that was like we rode that thing till the wheels fell off.
That's like nostalgic.
You're right.
Let me tell you this crazy thing that happened to me that I can't believe you're not noticing when you look at me.
Okay.
So I had these like little lines. I'm getting older. It is what it is. But I had these little lines on my lip, my bottom lip. So I asked Maria to just on the bottom lip, you know, she does this for a living. So I was like, I don't want like lip filler in the way that like you see people get lip filler. But I'm like, can you very subtly fix my bottom lip, just my bottom lip? And it was late at night. And she's like,
Kim K you.
Don't Kim K me. So she's like, no problem. I would never do that. I don't ever look at the lips I do. They all look great. I'm like, yeah, but I see people. I never think it looks good. I'm just not into it. So I'm like, I just want like the tiniest amount. So she is like, no problem. But it's like 11 o'clock at night. She's like, I'm not going to numb you. It's too late. Like you have to just do it. First of all, it's the most painful fucking thing I've ever done. So she does the bottom, and that's all I wanted was just a tiny little bit on the bottom. And when I say tiny, I want like a 20th percent of what normal people would get. So she does it, and then she's like, please, 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 I beg you, let me just do a little in the top. I promise you're going to like it. Like, please let me do it. But she doesn't tell me that after you get it, your like lips swell horribly.
Oh.
Like they're so vascular. She doesn't tell me that. I think she just thinks I know that. So she does it, and I'm literally last night, they immediately got huge. They're still big, but they're not nearly like they were last night.
I was tell.
Literally like borderline gonna cry.
I can't tell.
Oh my God. And I keep like looking at myself in the mirror and then like asking her, it's gonna get better than this, right? They're still gonna go down some more, right?
Oh my God.
She's like, I'm never injecting you again.
But did it take care of the issue?
Well, who knows? Because now I will never know, because I've got to wait now till the swelling goes down.
Oh my God. But stuff around the mouth and lips, like getting injections in that area, worries me because
me too.
There's so many nerve endings right there. Like you can really fuck stuff up.
Well, she's really, really good. I wasn't worried about her fucking anything up. I was more worried about, I don't want to have the look of, I know it looks beautiful on some people. I just don't like it.
It can look beautiful. It can also look terrible.
Right. And she kept saying, like, we can always dissolve it. Like, relax. Just, we can dissolve. If you don't like it, just come in. I'll dissolve it. God. I'm just like, ugh. So I did it, but then I had to go to bed with like the anxiety of I've got this huge
like what are my lips gonna look like in the morning?
What am I gonna look like in the morning? And it hurt. When I tell you it hurt, I've done painful shit to my face. I mean, stuff that's like grip the pillow. It hurts so bad. This is the worst pain I've ever had.
Really? Well, you didn't have numbing stuff. That was part of.
I was like, my eyes were watering. I was literally like telling her like out loud, like screaming while she's doing it at 11 o'clock in the bathroom.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I've been through a trauma.
Wow. Well, I have a story about Maria's son during Porch Fest.
Oh my God. I can't wait.
Where I go into your house. I go in through the back to use the bathroom because the band was performing, so I couldn't go through the porch. So I go around to the back, and I'm walking through your kitchen, and Oliver is screaming. I want to say the name was Cooper, like Cooper, and like getting increasingly irritated.
Oh my God!
And I'm like, I turn around,
Cooper?
like, what's fucking happening? Yeah. And he looks at me, and his face is like goes white.
Oh
and he goes,
my God!
Oh my God! He's like, I thought you were Reed's friend Cooper. And I was like,
oh my God.
No.
That is hilarious.
He's like, I'm so sorry. And I was just like, I'm dying laughing. I go to the bathroom. I come out and I go, Oliver, just to clarify, Cooper is a boy.
Cooper is a 9-year-old boy.
Like, he's a teenage boy. So I don't know.
God,
I don't know
dying.
how old Cooper is. I don't know if I'm remembering the name correctly. But holy shit, it was hilarious.
That is some funny shit.
And it's like,
who was with you? It's kind of a compliment.
I was alone.
Okay.
Well, that's just it. I'm like, I'm a little offended that I was mistaken for a boy. But at the same time, I look young. So.
You look totally young. You look like an 11-year-old.
Right.
I
had my hat on
Reed's
backwards.
friend. Yeah, that is hysterical. Oh my God, I'm dying.
If Reed has a friend with long hair, apparently we look the same from the back.
Wow, I'm going to have to ask Alli tonight who it was.
God, it was so fucking funny.
That is really, really funny. I would have been dying laughing.
I've hit peak lesbian. If I can,
I know if you
like
could pass for an 11-year-old boy. Did he see your face? He never saw your face till the end.
He didn't see my face. He just saw me from the back, and I was wearing Vans too.
Oh yeah, you had the whole look. You had the whole look.
The whole thing going. But oh my God, the way his face just like once he recognized that it was me.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious.
Let me tell you something too, because he is like very, very polite, very, very refined with his.
He's
like,
a sweetheart.
He's a sweetheart. So I guarantee he was just like, holy shit, what have I just done?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That is amazing. I
sorry
love that.
for coughing.
That's okay. I'm sorry that you're still sick.
I was going to say, now next up is my PSA that everyone needs to get their flu shot.
Yeah. You know, I told Maria right after you told me that, and she was like, went and did it that day. I need to still do mine.
I've gotten one every year for the past like 15 years. I haven't had the flu in 15 years.
Okay, so if you only have time for one errand, is it more important that we get people to vote or get that flu shot?
Oh, I would vote.
Okay,
Flu
vote
shot can
first.
wait
If you can only do one errand, please go vote.
Right?
And
Voting,
then
we've got a time constraint here
Exactly.
of a week and a half.
So please go vote. Please go vote. Please go vote.
Yeah. This flu is no joke. I've been sick for 5 days and I'm just kind of getting better now. But
oh man, well you look good. You look pretty.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what we're talking about so we don't do what we do, which is we end up doing 30 minutes of just catch up.
Bullshit. I think people like our bullshit.
Do they? I don't know. This might be the same as how you think people want to see your kids.
It's made me choke on my cough drop.
I'm going to put that in that column of things Melissa thinks people want to see and hear.
People love my kids.
They want to
hear all about
They just love
them.
your kids. Okay, so we are going to talk about today about imposter syndrome, but give me a little background, Melissa, on why this even came up.
So I'm a member of a private group on Facebook. If actually anyone who's looking to build community, it's a great place to go. The Facebook group is called Coming Out Late. That's it. And I saw this post on there the other day. We're not going to read it word for word because it is a private group and I'm going to protect that privacy. But basically the person was saying that they feel like an imposter syndrome when it comes to like being out and being part of the gay community. Like the fact that you're getting there late, it kind of makes you feel like you kind of don't quite belong. And you're kind of questioning, like, is this real? Like, should I really be here?
Right.
And I know I felt that early on. Like the idea to me of like showing up to like a gay bar, going to the lesbian bar, MSR at first, I was just like, I can't go in there. Like,
yeah.
What if they figure me out?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I'm a mom. I've got a kid. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's just something in you that kind of makes you feel like you don't quite have the credentials to be there.
And even beyond like the credentials to be there, it's also like, I think when you first come out, you're like looking for, what do you call it? Like proof of life of like, this is true. This is valid. My hypothesis was right. I'm gay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you're coming out at first, you're like looking for all these signs of life of like, yep. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Like you're in a group of people or kind of like, do you remember when, Melina from our group came on the show and she talked about this where like she had her first kiss and it wasn't that exciting. Mm-hmm. And she was kind of like, it didn't like, wow, okay, I thought this would feel different or be more exciting. I thought I was gay and wait. Now she knew she was gay, but I remember thinking, God, did that scare you? Like shit, you finally get this kiss and it's like, whatever.
Yeah. And I can relate to that,
Yeah.
Like, because I think in a way, it's like with men, I always kind of felt a little indifferent. Like I never felt those butterflies with the first kiss. I never felt that like nervousness. And so then you start dating women and it's kind of like you expect to have those feelings like for everybody all the time.
Right.
And then when you don't have them for everybody, it's kind of like, makes you question what you're doing.
Like, wait, did I just come out and blow up my life and I'm not really gay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes too, it's like, is it that rush initially of coming out and like discovering this and then it fizzles out?
Yeah. Like the newness kind of wears off and then you're like, oh, wait, now this is my new life?
Yeah.
Is this what I thought it was going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And just in social settings, like I remember feeling like not an outcast. It was more just like you guys are not you were, but it was like by and large, it didn't feel like my people. And so I remember thinking like, I don't feel like these people. I don't feel like these aren't people I would normally have dinner with or be. It made me feel like the odd man out.
Mm-hmm. Well, gosh, that's like before I even went to group and like I was doing therapy with that therapist that runs group and she was trying to get me to go. And one day I was leaving my session as like group was about to start and the people that were waiting in the lobby. And this is super judgmental of me, but I'm looking at these people and I'm like, that's not like me.
Yeah.
You know, like I just didn't relate to the people. And it was maybe like 2 or 3 people sitting there.
Yeah.
Didn't relate to those women. And it's almost like your brain is looking for any way to like justify you not being gay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true too. Like you want to be straight so bad that it's like, okay, wait, yep, nope, I'm not. Thank you, God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can totally see that. And you can't, even though you're coming out and you're in this group and you're making all the right moves, your brain is still stuck 15 years ago, hoping you're not gay.
Well, and being like internalized, like the internalized homophobia of it all.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Like I don't want to be part of that group. Like
no, and like sitting in there, I know what you mean. Like I remember same thing. Like I walked in and sat down and thought, this is not me. This is not reflective of me. And it made me really uncomfortable. But even beyond that, like my first girlfriend, my catalyst, I remember like hanging out with her circles, and I knew you even. And I remember I verbalized to you, like, these people scare me. Like, I am not like this. I'm something else entirely. It made me really uncomfortable. Like, wow, is this what the lesbian community is? I'm never going to fit in this group.
I felt that more so when I hang out with like older lesbians.
Really?
Yeah, like the ones that have been out for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and they kind of like, in a way, and maybe this is my own internalized thing, but it's like I know they did a lot of hard shit to be where they are. And it's shit that I haven't had to experience in the same way. You know, if they came out in the 80s and, you know, all the hardships that they dealt with coming out, losing family members, not being able to talk about the relationships at work, you know, being harassed, all these things, it's like things that I didn't have to experience. And so in a way, it's almost like I feel this sense of like, they're looking at me like, you didn't do any of the really hard shit. Like, of course, it's hard to like leave your husband, whatever, but.
Some people will say now, I was gay before it was cool to be gay. And it's almost like, okay, that feels kind of insulting. Like, maybe I'm just gay because it's cool to be gay now.
Yeah.
You know? Has anyone ever said that to you?
No one's ever said that to me, but I've heard kind of similar things.
Yeah.
And
is it cool to be gay? Like, I'm still not sure.
I don't think it's cool to be gay.
Exactly.
I think more so it's like, you have more permission to be gay now.
Yeah. Okay, that's a better way.
And even so, it's not like full permission. Like, there's still like shit out there that's dangerous about it.
Yeah.
You know, you go outside of the city of Atlanta and hold hands with your girlfriend, you're kind of looking around like, is this allowed right now? Am I going to be like, is someone going to say something to me?
Yeah. I even think like we had that episode about sexual anxiety, and this is maybe way too much information, but I remember like being out with my catalyst, and I always was like really attracted to her, and I would like want to be near her, and I had all the feelings that I was supposed to have. But then when it actually came down to like doing it, like I remember one night we were out, and it was like very obvious that I was going to go home with her, and very obvious that like tonight's the night. Likely things are going to go further than they had before. And I remember feeling a sense of like almost, it wasn't like I enjoyed kissing her, I enjoyed all that, but then I did have this feeling of like it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Partly because of, I think, my own anxieties around this new thing about me. Like I didn't know what I was doing. You were far more comfortable in that realm than I was. And I remember like, I don't know, like almost thinking like, I don't know if I even like it that much.
Mm-hmm.
And
then they have the lights on.
And now the lights are on. I'm on your couch. Like, exactly.
This couch is disgusting.
It's disgusting. Like, I don't want to be here. Like, I remember kind of thinking, like, is this how it's supposed to feel? Like, maybe I'm just straight. Like, maybe I need to go to therapy and, like, figure that out. Like, maybe this isn't for me. Like, why aren't I like just clawing at her?
I feel like no matter what, our brains are going to just like, it's like two sides that are just constantly dueling each other.
They are.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, no matter what decision you make in life, you're going to second guess.
Right. And so it does make you, though, feel those, it like reinforces that imposter syndrome of, you know, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
You know?
But for me, like, the experiences, like sexual experiences, to me, that's like what I needed to confirm everything. And to compare that to my experience with men, it was just like night and day. Like, you know, being with a man, I was just going through the motions. I didn't necessarily want to be doing any of it.
Right.
And then to be with a woman where it's like, oh wait, I want to do this. Like that was clear as day to me.
Yeah.
So I haven't felt like the imposter syndrome from that standpoint. But I will say, like, when you get out there and you start dating and like I think you kind of feel like this need to disclose that you're new.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost like to justify how bad you are. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know.
I'm bad because I've just started a job.
Do you want me to bring it up? The text that you got that said how good you are?
I mean,
do you want to bring it up? Guys, listen, let me just tell you, she's not going to say it, so I will. Melissa got a lot of really positive feedback in the early days.
What can I say? You know.
What can I say? What can I say?
What was it? One of them said, like, have you been taking lesbian sex tutorials?
You actually could have answered yes, because your catalyst was giving you lesbian sex tutorials.
That's true. I mean, that's... Remember she used to tell everybody she sold sex toys?
I know, I love that about her.
And everyone believed her just because it was like...
Including me.
She was so solid and convincing.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a real thing. And I do think that depending on your background, and I have it at my work. Like I was in meetings last week and I remember sitting there listening to people talk about my company. And I like was very much green in the way of like what they're even talking about. And it like made me feel like like an imposter, like I don't belong here, or like they think, oh, cute that you did this, but now let the adults handle the rest. And they weren't making me feel that way. It's my own shit of just like sitting there wanting to contribute to it, and I don't even know how to contribute because I don't know what to even say.
I mean, it's like starting a new job. Like every job that I've ever started, I've been like, how did I even get here? Like, who gave me permission?
Right.
Like, I really remember that too with my first job, like as a TV reporter. I was like, I don't know how to be a TV reporter.
Yeah, wait,
like at all.
Like at all.
I just barely graduated. No, barely graduated from college, but I didn't really anticipate becoming a TV reporter.
Yeah.
It just kind of like landed in my lap, and I was like, well, I have a lot of experience in acting, so I'll act like a TV reporter and we'll see what fucking happens. And I managed to do it for 8 years.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it is so true. Like,
it's like a fake it till you make it.
Put yourself out there. I literally, that is something that I am pretty good at. Like, I do think even with like starting this company, I don't know. I just kind of did it. I remember like now I look back at some of the people I called on in the early days to like help me. They must have been like they must have thought it was like laughable. Like it's almost like naivety is your best resource. Right. Because you don't even know how stupid it is.
And then you just dive in.
Yeah, exactly. But now that I know a little more, sometimes I do sit in these rooms and I'm like, I feel like the adults need to take over at this point.
You're like at the kids' table.
I'm at the kids' table. Literally, my sister was there too at this last week, and we both like at one point did look at each other like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Oh my God.
But anyway, it's all good. But I have imposter syndrome on all places in my life.
I think everybody does to some degree. And yeah, I think if you just walk in there with confidence and like, and I think the other thing is like a lot of people, that other question we always see is like, what if I'm wrong? And I think that's probably like a big part of the imposter syndrome. What if I'm wrong? What if I walked in this room, made all these friends that are gay? I've hooked up with women.
Yeah.
And then I just decided, I realized I was wrong.
It's
like, and I need to go back. What if?
Say more.
If so, so what?
Yeah.
Like,
okay, but I like this, and I want you to say more about that, because I think if somebody would have said, what if was, but I would have gotten divorced, given up my house, given up my custody, like that's what if.
Yeah, that's true. But also, how many people do we actually hear from that have done that?
They've gone back, you mean?
Gone back.
None.
Like, I can't think of anybody.
No one that fully did it.
If they did, they went into witness protection, and
Yeah, they're in witness
I
protection.
don't know that they live in the middle of Idaho now.
Did it ever cross your mind? That if you did go back, you would talk Tom into like moving to another city?
We're gonna move and just start over entirely. I mean,
it did actually cross my mind.
I think that crosses everybody's mind. Like,
yeah.
However, I don't know. That wasn't really an option for very long for me.
No, me neither. Like once
he moved on quick,
right?
But I remember thinking that more so like in the height of my catalyst, and like the arguments that were happening there, and being like, I didn't leave for this.
No, I don't want this stress.
No,
I agree. Sometimes Maria though will say, and we don't have like, it's not stressful all the time, but we have more stress than I had in my marriage. And she often says it's because you're here now, like you're present, you're fully in this. And we have a lot more stressors, it's not like our kids, we've blended. My life has changed significantly over the past 4 years. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, I think she would say that you're fighting with your catalyst because there's a lot more stress in that relationship than there was in your marriage.
Yeah.
So it's not really.
And the uncertainty.
And the uncertainty. Too. Right. But at what point what point were you in your mind like, you know what, this is not healthy or normal?
Oh, I remember very distinctly when that happened. And it was, we were about to go on a trip together, and she was trying to cancel on me.
I remember that.
Like the night before we were leaving. And I remember laying there and being like, I'm not planning anything else with her, and I'm making my move out of this. But I had to plan my exit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even that, it did not go well.
No.
My shit got thrown in garbage bags, and
I was there for that too, my friend.
All right. So
I do recall.
But like I've said before, I know that those relationships are stressful as fuck.
They are. But what's different about Melissa now than the Melissa that was saying never again? Like how have you changed over the past, it's been 4 years, right?
Yeah.
How have you changed?
Well, I think I changed in that moment, really, to know that I don't want to put up with anything less than my marriage.
Okay.
And having the confidence to figure out what I truly want in someone, and that person's going to bring me peace.
Yeah. That resonates with me. I want all those things.
And
who doesn't, I guess.
Well, right. Who doesn't want peace in their life? But it is a really hard fucking thing to undo your whole life.
Right.
You're essentially placing a bet and hoping that things turn out for the better, especially when you're leaving a marriage like we left, where it's not like it was a bad marriage.
No, it was a happy marriage. It's a massive leap of faith.
But also that marriage left me empty in a lot of ways.
Yeah. But do you think and now, would there be some hope to you though in thinking that, yeah, it's a massive leap of faith and you're jumping into the unknown. You have no idea what it's going to be. You may be alone forever and depressed, but that there's always room to pivot, or sometimes I said to someone the other day, there is no wrong choice. It's just two different choices that you make the absolute best of.
Well, and the fact that I feel like coming out and realizing this about myself, it just elevated me as a person in so many ways, and opened me up to be more myself.
Yeah.
And more creative in so many ways.
I am too. Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Because before it's you're closed off. You're living in this little bubble. You're trying not to. It's almost like you cocoon yourself so that you don't feel too much, and there's not much wiggle room.
Yeah, I think that there was a massive expansion with me as well.
I mean, look at what you've done in the past few years with your business.
Yeah, I would never have done that
5 years ago, 6 years ago.
No.
Like,
even like my ex-husband has said, like, I sometimes when I see your life now, I have guilt around, like, was it me keeping you? But it wasn't. He would have said, do whatever you want. Like, I don't care. But I just didn't. I don't, like, to your point, you're like in the bubble of being the character that you're supposed to play in that bubble. Like, there wasn't really room for that, for me to expand.
right. There wasn't room for you to do your own thing and to take that leap with the business.
Yeah. Or to meet the cool people I've met, or to
That too.
Yeah.
You know, I think so many people bank on coming out and I've got to find a relationship. I've got to find a relationship. But it's like the relationship is great that, you know, I have finally found. But like the friends that I have brought into my life, incredible.
That's
you
the
know?
security. That's where the real community is.
Mm-hmm. And like with this podcast, being able to do this and share our stories and meet people, like we could probably visit any major city in the United States and find someone that is a listener that would want to come have a drink with us.
Yeah.
And like, that's so cool to me. I can't even remember if I talked about this, but on our way back from Croatia, Marina and I had an overnight in Amsterdam. And we met up with 2 podcast listeners there
Really?
and like had dinner.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
you never told
like
me
went
that.
to like the gay district in Amsterdam. Yeah, it was like super cool. Like they're younger, like early 20s, but both had experiences like dating men and coming out, and like so it was really cool.
That is
And that's
really
just it.
cool.
Like anywhere in the world, really, you know, like we can find people.
Yeah, there's something about that feeling of like, not that they're your friends, but they're like, there's community. It makes you feel not alone.
Yeah.
Like even when I read our DMs or I see, you know, that I guess that is the message to everybody, is you really are never alone. Like there's so many people out there doing exactly what you're doing, which is another reason why you're not an imposter. You're doing what they're doing. You're on your journey to finding it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's beautiful.
And those people that like came out 20 years ago, like I feel like even they had some instance of feeling like they needed to stay in that hetero world.
Right.
You know, I feel like it's so rare that people are like that quote gold star lesbian. Most people have struggled at some point with coming out and figuring out their sexuality. So walking into a room and saying that you're coming out later, you're not alone.
No, ever. I think what struck me recently, my 11-year-old came home from school. He has to read this book for school, like in their literature class. And he's telling me about the book, and he's like loving this book. And the book is about this little boy who wants to take hormone blockers and become a girl.
Oh, wow.
And her mom is on her side, and her dad is really struggling with it. He's 11, okay? My read. He is like so into this book, I can't even tell you. And so the little boy wants to take the hormone blockers and become Lily. And it's like the parents struggle with this, the struggles at school. I mean, it's just this like really interesting book. And I was thinking and I read it a little bit with him last night, and just how like, can you imagine and that they're creating this sense of like, Reed, who's this jock of a boy. I mean, he is a sporty boy, is like rooting for Lily. Like he is like, I hope her dad ends up being cool. And like, why is her dad not okay with this? And it's just like this whole, I don't know, it's like flipping this whole old school thing on its head. That these kids, he's rooting for her.
I love that.
Yeah. And I just wondered, like, first of all, I was blown away that this is the book they're all reading. And that like it's so normalized. Nobody asked us. It wasn't like we got an email, hey, we're going to read this controversial book.
They'd be like,
no.
Yeah.
They don't even, So it's just like, I wonder if like, as these kids are coming up, it's going to be so normalized, almost celebrated.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's shifting in that direction, but then I don't know, like lately, do you know who Dylan Mulvaney is?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know what happened. I've just seen the name.
She's doing this thing where it's like I think 300 Days of Being a Girl, something like that.
Okay.
And like people are posting all these like hate videos on TikTok being like, you'll never be a woman, like, because she's a trans woman. And the thing is, it's like, but what is it in you that bothers you so much about this person saying, I'm a woman and I want to experience girlhood?
Yeah.
Like, it takes away nothing from your happiness that she is doing this.
No.
And like, it just blows my mind. Like, I can't imagine that people, like, how do you have the space to be that mad about something that literally has nothing to do with you?
I know. I never will understand that. I never will understand that.
It's making her happy. It's bringing joy to other people. It's bringing positivity to other people and making it okay for like other trans kids to follow suit. Like, go for it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think one thing we should have Owen come on and talk about this because he's not trans, but he's like very well versed in, and like he explained to me something the other day that I'm going to botch, but it was like basically gender is not the same as sexuality. There's another word that he's like, these are two totally different things, Mom. Like these are isolated things.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't, I don't know, like he explained it so well to me that I was like, oh, okay, that makes total sense to me. And I think we're so, people don't understand.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not.
I think that is part of it, is a lot of people don't understand. And yeah, gender and sexuality, two different things.
Right.
But yeah, that would be great if Owen wanted to come on. He came on like forever ago. Remember that?
Even if he just talked for a few minutes about that particular topic, because he is like so well versed in that.
That would be great.
I mean, even he gives us lessons all the time that I'm like, I'll say something and he's like, never say that again. Here's why. And I'm like, oh shit, I never even thought about that.
Yeah. I think that would be great because I think that's part of like coming out, and maybe part of that imposter syndrome is like maybe we feel like we're going to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You know, we're new to this.
Right.
Like, what if we fuck up and say like the wrong phrase for something?
Right. Which I'm sure we do all the time.
Or say something offensive. Oh, you know.
There's probably people cringing.
We've gotten some emails.
We've gotten some emails that I haven't shared with you. Exactly. It's terrible. Oh,
we do our best.
We definitely do our best. I for sure have evolved in that space.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I fully grasped it. And one question I have for my kids sometimes, I brought this up to him when he was correcting me on something else, was just I wanted to be a boy when I was little. Like I wanted to be a boy actively. Like I dreamed of it. I wanted it. I wished I was the dad when we played house. And what if my parents would have if I would have had the option of changing, now I don't want to be like, I'm so glad I'm a woman. I'm a pretty feminine woman. Like, I wonder, how do you make sure, I don't know, like that's controversial, but I feel like I wouldn't have wanted to transition, even though at 9, I might've said I did.
And I think that's just it. It's, you know, what permanent decisions should be made at that age, you know? And I think that's for people to like explore with
on an individual.
Because I mean, I was kind of the same way. I wouldn't say that I wanted to be a boy, but I definitely wanted to dress like the boys. I wanted to be around the boys, like girls. I was like, get away from me. Like, you guys make no sense to me.
And it's boring, right?
Like, it's boring. I don't want to play with dolls. None of it. And you know, one of my therapist was like, have you explored your gender identity? And I was like, yeah, that's not a thing. Like, I know who I am. I like being a woman. I don't want to change that. Like, do I sometimes dress to where I look like a teenage boy?
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah, it's totally okay. That's hilarious.
But yeah, it is kind of weird to think back on because like as a kid, like there was shame around how I dress, how I wanted to dress. And I wanted to be like my older brother, you know?
Right. And which is probably what your parents chalked it up to, is that she has an older brother. So she dresses like her older brother. But did you have you never thought about, I did love playing with dolls and I did love playing Barbies, but I wanted to be Ken and I wanted to be like the dad. I don't know.
I made my Barbies date G.I. Joe. So
okay. So you are doing the
I don't know what that means, but
heteronormative roles.
right, yeah.
Well, I don't know. We're all learning and growing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that imposter syndrome is real in all things, especially this one when you're making such a big life change.
Yeah. You're going to question it. And it's just a matter of I think just getting used to it in your head and taking the leap, like you said.
Yeah. Finding your people in that community that also validate you in some way so that it's like, oh, wait, yeah.
And that's just it. It's like, I met you guys and we were in the same space,
right?
You know, like, and that's just is what makes it, you find your people and you feel okay.
Definitely true. I think that is the real goal of even this podcast. All of it is find your community. Period. That's why I loved having Bloomer Society on here because she did it so beautifully. It doesn't even have to be that big, but just to like build it, they come. Yeah. And creating a space in your town that has something for people, they will start to show up. It might take a minute.
Well, even like I mentioned, that coming out late group on Facebook, getting on there and being like, I live in such and such city. Who wants to meet up?
Yep. If someone had done that in the early days with me, I would have totally gone.
Yeah.
I went to dinner with
strangers. Who wants to meet up at the park on Saturday? Like, bring your drinks. Yeah. We'll hang out. You know? It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. If you have one person to just show up with, I truly think that's all you need. And then you can start to kind of grow it.
Absolutely.
So, well, that's a good place to end.
I think so. And I've got this is perfect. Now I can go get my kiddos.
Go get your kiddos. And you've got a birthday coming up. Just saying.
I do. Yay.
Yep.
The big 4-2.
4-2.
Or 14.
Exactly. Make it 11. Don't say 14. It was 11.
I want confirmation on how old this kid is.
I'm going to send you a picture of Connor.
And what he looks like. Is it Connor?
I don't know. We have a Connor and a Cooper.
Okay. Whoever was has long hair. My hair was down. So.
Okay. It was down. Okay. I'll send you. I'll tell you who it is.
Okay. All right.
I'm sure they're cute.
I hope so.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Want to support the Lesbian Chronicles podcast? Rate us and write a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
We love listener feedback. If you'd like to share your story, email us at melissaandalli@gmail.com. That's Melissa, MELISA, and Alli, ALLI, @gmail.com. Or follow us on Instagram at Lesbian Chronicles.